New York City. Summer, 1896. It is 11 o'clock at night. The temperature has not dropped below 90 degrees in 4 days. Families are dragging mattresses onto fire escapes, onto rooftops, into the street. Police records from this summer show hundreds of people fined for blocking fire escapes with bedding. They paid the fine anyway, because sleeping inside wasn't possible. That same week, 1,400 people died from the heat in New York City alone. This was not a disaster. This was just summer. In every city on Earth, for the entirety of human history, when it got hot, people suffered. There was nothing else to do. 40 years later, that changed forever. Before air conditioning, heat didn't just make people uncomfortable, it decided where civilizations could exist. The American South was genuinely difficult to inhabit in summer. Mortality rates were significantly higher than the rest of the country. Factories slowed. Productivity collapsed. Phoenix, Arizona had fewer than 5,000 people in 1900. The idea of it becoming a major city would have seemed absurd. Buildings were engineered entirely around defeating heat passively, ceilings 14 feet high so hot air could rise above people's heads, wide porches blocking direct sun, sleeping porches where entire families slept outdoors from May through September. Not for pleasure. For survival. None of it was enough. The world was shaped by heat in ways so fundamental that people had stopped noticing. It was simply the condition of being alive in summer. Until a 25-year-old engineer was handed a problem about paper. Willis Carrier graduated from Cornell University in 1901 and took a job at the Buffalo Forge Company in New York for $10 a week. In 1902, a printing company in Brooklyn called Sackett-Wilhelms had a serious problem. They produced full-color illustrated magazines, and in summer their output was being destroyed not by the heat itself, but by humidity. Color lithography required paper to pass through the press multiple times, once per color. Each pass had to align to a tolerance of fractions of a millimeter. But paper absorbs moisture from the air. In New York's summer humidity, paper expanded between press runs. Colors that aligned perfectly in the morning were visibly wrong by afternoon. Entire print runs were scrapped. Carrier was assigned to fix it. He understood the real problem wasn't temperature, it was moisture in the air. If he could lower the humidity, the paper would hold its size. To lower humidity, he needed to cool the air below its dew point, the temperature at which water vapor condenses into liquid. He designed a system that passed air over pipes carrying cold water. Moisture condensed onto the pipes and was removed. The air coming out the other side was drier and cooler. It was installed on July 17, 1902, at the Sackett-Wilhelms plant in Brooklyn. It worked. The paper held. The colors aligned. Willis Carrier had solved a printing problem. He had also, without fully realizing it, invented air conditioning. For 20 years, air conditioning stayed industrial, textile mills, tobacco plants, pharmaceutical factories. Sold as a product quality tool, not a comfort tool. Then in 1922, Carrier installed a system in the Rivoli Theater in New York City. The first major public comfort cooling installation in America. The response was unlike anything expected. People didn't go to see the film. They went to sit in the cool air. In a New York summer of 90-degree heat, the Rivoli was 68 degrees Fahrenheit. People sat through multiple screenings. Summer, previously the dead season for cinema, became Hollywood's most profitable season within a decade. Department stores followed. Hotels. Restaurants. Home units arrived in 1932, but cost roughly $50,000 in today's money. By the 1950s, prices had fallen enough for ordinary families. What followed was one of the largest migrations in American history. Texas grew from 6.5 million people in 1940 to 5 times that number. Florida's population multiplied by 10. Arizona's by 14. Phoenix went from 65,000 people to over 1.5 million. The South's per capita income rose from 52% of the national average in 1930 to 90% by the 1980s. Air conditioning didn't just cool buildings. It relocated American civilization. Willis Carrier died in 1950, just as the technology he invented was beginning its real transformation of the world. He never saw Phoenix become a city. He never saw Florida's population multiply by 10. He saw a printing company's paper stop warping in the summer heat. This is what invention usually looks like. Not a grand vision. A specific problem. A methodical mind. A solution that works. And then, decades later, an understanding of what was actually built. The children sleeping on fire escapes in 1896 could not have imagined that 40 years later their grandchildren would sleep in mechanically cooled rooms with the windows closed. Everything around you was made before you. Most of it started exactly the same way. Before the air conditioner though, before any machine that controlled the indoor environment, there was something sitting on your kitchen counter that humans have been making for 30,000 years. Something we invented before we invented farming. That story is next.